the book. I think one of the questions you asked people is about pantsing or plotting.
Sure.
And I tend to be, I pants for about the first third of a book, and then I plot for the first third of a book, and then I'm a pantser from there on out. So I got the characters in place and still wasn't sure where they were going. But Jimmy was one of the ones that surprised me, and I really enjoyed writing that character.
So when you're pantsing past the first third, do you still have an ending in mind, or are you just letting the characters go until they show you what the ending is going to be?
I generally do have an ending, a vague ending in mind. I wouldn't say that I lock down the details on it, because more often than not, I end up veering off in a different direction at some point. And I'm really good at writing 80 pages and then scrapping it because I realize I don't like where it's headed. So I would probably write faster, get more books out, that sort of thing. If I would sit down and write an outline and write out, here's what's going to happen. But somehow that doesn't feel organic to me, and that's just my own personal preference. It feels I also am not sure I have that ability to sit down and go, here's the story, and I just make it up on the spot and plot it out. I kind of like to have the characters lead me a little bit. So that sounds really new agey or something, but I don't mean it that way. It's just rewriting and writing and rewriting and writing and rewriting is how I find the story. It seems. I wish I could say I could find it faster, but that's what tends to happen.
Well, in your defense, aren't you doing a daily comic strip the entire time you're writing as well?
I am, and that takes up some time, and I have to write when I can. Let's put it that way. That's sort of my day job, I guess you'd call it at some point. But I love doing both. It's nice actually to have both. I can sort of go with where my energy takes me. If there's a day where it feels more like a day to write strips, there's a day where it feels more like, oh, this is a writing on the book day, that kind of thing. I can bounce around a little bit, which is nice.
So pre-quarantine, because I know that's changed how we're all doing things. Pre-quarantine, when you were working on Wink, what did your typical writing day look like?
I like to write in a coffee shop. I've got a couple here in Zionsville that I like, and I go out. I probably am in my spot by 9, and then I just set up at the table, and when I'm writing, again, what I end up having to do is I'll have to work ahead on the strip usually and clear up 2 or 3 days in a row where I can write, and I will set up and just, especially when I'm doing the first draft, I just write like the wind. I just gotta write really fast. I heard some writers say that might have been Stephen King or somebody said they're not a good writer, they're a good rewriter. I think I kind of fall into that. So I just sort of start spilling story out, and then I'll write for hours. If I get 10 pages, that's a good day. If I get 18 pages, that's a really good day. And I know there are people that write a lot faster and people who write a lot slower than that. So that seems to be about my pace. And then, ideally I write for 3 or 4 days, 2, 3, 4 days, and then go away and work on the strip for a few days. And then I come back and I have kind of fresh eyes on it, and I'll go back, and I'm kind of always looking to reduce what I've written, if that makes sense. I think I'm always looking to take out the fat, take out words that don't need to be there, scenes that don't need to be, I try not to repeat myself and that sort of thing. So, and I find that when I'm doing my first draft, I do a lot of that. I do a lot of unnecessary writing. And then when I go back, I realize, this isn't necessary here. And so there are actually some really fun scenes I've written that I've pulled just because I don't think they drive the story or drive the characters forward. So that's sort of my.
So what?
I drink a lot of coffee and sit in Starbucks. Yeah.
Well, what becomes of those scenes? Do you keep them someplace? Do you use them for anything, or do you hit the delete button, goodbye?
No, usually I hold on to those drafts, and I have lifted from here and there, or eventually I might realize later in the story like, oh, that scene actually works now if I rework it a little bit. So I hold on to those. I have since Wink, I've started several books, and I have all of those starts, and it's interesting how each new book that I've started has kind of taken elements from the other books that I've started. So hopefully eventually I'll land on an actual book and not just a start. I've got a bunch of like 100-page starts to books, and I would like to soon here find the next one.
So you've got several 100-page starts to choose from then?
Yeah, but then I start bouncing them off my agent, and we start talking about them, and he's fantastic. He's works almost like an editor at this point with me, and that's fantastic to be able to have just somebody to bounce it off of and get his honest opinion on things. And if I feel really strongly about something and he doesn't like it, I will usually I keep going on this a little bit. But really often, and I've gotten really lucky with my editors and my agent, sometimes I feel like they say the things that has been in the back of my head, the thing that's been gnawing at me and bothering me. They have a way of saying, this feels a little, and I'll be like, yeah, that's exactly. So I'm not somebody who likes to write in a vacuum. I would never want to write a book in a vacuum. I appreciate the collaborative process, I guess. I don't think I would want to write a book with another writer, but it's nice to be able to work with an agent and an editor and get feedback. So,
and if you don't mind saying, who is your editor or agent?
My agent is Dan Lazar at Writer's House, and then my editor is Kate Harrison at Penguin. Well, at Dial, Books for Young Readers, and they're both. I love them both. They're amazing. So, and I've worked. I did all the Life of Zarf books and Wink with both of them. So I feel very. I trust them, if that which is a huge thing. I think when you're working on a book, and especially a book, really personal book like this. They both respected my story, but tried to help me make it the most impactful, the most relatable, and also something that would, ultimately appeal to the most people as well. So it was really nice to have that comfort with them to work.
Dan and Kate, if you're listening, which I assume you listen every week, but this week I want to formally extend the invitation to you. Please come on the show at any point. Get in touch with me. I'd love to chat with you. Dan has a 7-question interview available right now, esteemed audience, at middlegradeninja.com. You can read an interview with Dan Lazar.